Welcome to the third installment of Leadership Lessons. And today we have Gene Martin, the round man with the square deal. And Gene, you were my political advisor. Actually, we called him secondary advisor. And you advised me stuff in the state about what was going on. And you never told me what to do. As a matter of fact, I'm not sure you ever recommended anything for me to do, but you would say, "You sure you want to do that?" And let me tell you something. That was some sage advice because I was looking at some huge numbers going into April, and I think we grew by like 600 members in April. So we did pretty good. But um, looking back on your JC history, you were a past state president. What year were you the state president of South Carolina Jaycees?
1980, 81.
Okay. Looking back, what are you most proud of, either personally or part of the organization's impact?
I survived it. I think one of the things I guess, Bill, that I'm more proud of than anything is no one took a shot at me. We had some serious problems to overcome, and some things that we needed to do and to clean up. And we did that. Made some pretty tough decisions. Um, Replaced everyone on my executive committee, with the exception of my individual development vice president, uh, and my state secretary. Those two guys I didn't replace. Everyone else, we had a couple of resignations. We had a couple of people that I convinced to resign, and then a couple of people that we just sent on their merry way, and replaced all of them, including my chaplain. We replaced the chaplain. Uh, but the reason we replaced the chaplain is because I moved him to community development VP at that time. So it was an interesting thing. But we did what we set out to accomplish. We sat down at the beginning of the year and took a look at some things, and based on that, we knew we were going to have some problems. And well, at that time, we considered them opportunities.
Right.
I think with the help of the folks that we brought on, we set the table for the Jaycees to follow, and we're real proud of that. The guys that served with me will tell you the same thing. That's what we're real proud of. The thing that came out of it that I liked better the most was the people that I met.
Yeah.
Had the opportunity to do a lot of good things, and see some people, and and people said, well, where have you traveled? I said, look, man, I've been to Denmark, I've been to Norway, I've been to Sweden, I've been to Walhalla. And they said, all of those countries? I said, no, they're all in South Carolina. We had the opportunity to travel the state all over everywhere, and meet some great folks and do some great things. And I'm just proud I had the opportunity.
Yeah. Gene, for as long as I can remember, you always did local presidents training. Certainly you did mine when I was a local president in Rock Hill. Although I got to tell you, in the afternoon, Renee Ballantyne from Monk's Corner and I went out to the pool and spent most of the day out there. But you did a fantastic job working with us local presidents. What were the traits that you looked for in young emerging leaders, and are those traits still relevant today?
I don't think those traits have changed. What we looked for was people who cared. Not just, you hear that old saying that there's no I in team. Well, I hate to burst their bubble, but there is a me in team. I look for the people who were looking to be leaders, who actually cared about other people. And you could talk to them and see, that they cared about their members, the folks in their community. And that's what that's what we looked for. And those are the people that really came through. And you were one of those. I mean, you at that time had a tendency to prefer to have a good time compared to sitting in a classroom listening to a couple of people up there telling stuff that you probably already knew. but you could tell that you had the desire to go on and do some things, and that you were, you were interested in your people,
Yeah.
and you cared about your people, and that's still evident by the fact that they kept you around. The chapter you were in, if you didn't care, you didn't last. Very familiar with those guys up there. Super bunch of folks.
Yeah, Gene, I stole a line that I loved what you said, and I've used it consistently. When we meet with our junior leadership Lake Norman and high school juniors, one of those things you said to me 30 years, 40 years ago, probably is love what you do what you love, and deliver more than you promise. And I try to instill that when I'm talking to high school students. And that's so relevant to everything that we do.
Well, it is, and it still is. I think somebody told me years ago, when I was still in college and then got out and were looking for a job. They said, find a job that you love,
Uh-huh.
and you'll never work a day in your life. And it's just the same thing holds true. Um, if you find something that you love and you enjoy doing, that's going to make it easier to do it. It's easier to get up in the morning and go do that kind of stuff. And the thing is if you promise somebody, especially as you're coming through in the JC organization, in the Chamber of Commerce now, as we're both in that kind of thing, you promise them something. If you promise them an event, go a little further and give them something as well, besides what you promised, a little bit more. And when you do that, they're more apt to say, hey, I kind of like that. Let's wait. We can't wait till the next event that they do. And it's always a little bit extra.
Gene, how do you think leadership development and community service for young adults today compares to what we did in the 70s, 80s, and 90s?
I think the opportunities are still out there. I think it's a little different now than it was when we came through. It's I think everybody, all of the young adults want the same thing. They want success. They want friends. They want to be pointed in the right direction. And I think they deep down inside, they all want to go the same way. Um, they they need stuff that's going to teach them how to do the right thing. And I think one of the things, both of my boys teach and coach in high school.
Mhm.
Our older son is got out of coaching now and more into the administration. But he was talking with the principal about 2 years ago, and they were talking about something that kids need, young folks need as they're coming through school and everything. And they came up with an idea that get away from arithmetic, English, history, and stuff, teach them life skills. So they came up with a class to volunteer for kids to take. He takes them outside, teaches them how to change a tire, teaches them how to change the oil in the car, how to write a check, and how to
Yeah.
balance a checkbook, and stuff like that. That you and I probably take for granted because that's the way we came up. I used to pull my old car under the shade tree and change the oil in it. Um, Now I won't even change the air in the tire because there's so much technological
Computerized.
stuff
Yeah.
on there now. But basic life skills, how to do that. Um, they were looking at he and the principal were walking around the school, and they said, that wall there, you wouldn't probably need to pressure wash it. Wonder who we can get to do that. And Henry says, my class.
Yeah.
So he took his class out there, and they pressure washed the building.
Yeah.
They're learning how to do stuff like that, and that's the kind of stuff that they can carry on and pass on. Same thing with the Jaycees. When we came through the Jaycees, we were taught how to recruit people. Simple need is in order to recruit somebody, you go out there and how do you do it? Well, uh, I read a book years ago about a guy by the name of Gil Gerard, the only salesman to ever be in the Guinness Book of World Records, and he sold Chevrolets. His deal was find a need and fill it.
Hmm.
Guy walks into into his showroom. He looks at it and he says, I need groceries, and I think I can get enough from this guy to pay for the groceries. But how do I do it? So he goes over and he talks to him, and he says, welcomes him there, and doesn't say which kind of car you're interested in and all that kind of thing. He says, what do you need? What do you need? And the guy says, well, I need basic transportation. And in the kind of business that I do, I have to carry some stuff around and all that. Well, he doesn't carry him to show him the big Chevy Impala kind of thing. Look over here at my truck, and he kind of has the need and fill it. And that's what we do the same thing with the Jaycees and the young people. We have to find out what they need and fill that need.
Yeah, young people today are really connecting through digital platforms and short-term causes. Do you think a civic club model like we had in the junior chamber can still resonate with this generation of young people?
It can, but we've got to change. What we did that made us successful is we went, well, if you want to catch fish, you got to go where the fish are. We know that to start with. But what made us successful is the reason we joined the Jaycees and the reason people joined the Jaycees, if they sold insurance, they went where the clients were, the people who needed the insurance, the young people up and coming. If they whatever they sold, whatever their job was, they went to where the people were, and that was the young people coming up. And I think still, in a way, we still have to do the same thing. Difference is social media. We had to make that contact if we wanted to be successful. We went to the meetings and we went to where the young people are. Now you can go in home and go in a room, take all your clothes off, and sit there and do whatever you want to in the dark and talk to the world. And as long as we don't have the video, and of course, we're from, we don't know. I don't know whether you and I either one are wearing pants. I mean, we don't know because we can't see that. Um, but but that's the big difference. But I think we have to, as JCs and leaders, we've got to meet them on their own ground. If social media is the way to go, then we need to cover social media with JCs and leadership opportunities to get them, hit them right where they want to be, and that's the name of the game. And I think we've got to use the tools that we've got in our tool chest, and social media is one of them.
Gene, you had some fantastic political mentors down in your neck of the woods. Certainly, Nathan Pridgeon is one of them, and you learned a lot. How does your political experience in the JCs help you now in your role at the Visitor Center and working with the Chamber of Commerce at Fair Bluff?
But to begin with, I weren't all that excited about that political stuff. I mean, I admit. I met a couple of them. The first state president I ever met was a guy by the name of Billy Ayers. Billy walked into the JC meeting in Mullins, and it was my first meeting there after joining. He walked up to me and he said, "Gene Martin, how you doing? I'm Bill Ayers." And the first thing I said was, "Oh my God, this guy knows who I am." It never dawned on me that I had a name tag on that said Gene Martin. But they were some of the best. And I remember when I was running for state president, I had been to a chapter and I had done something that I didn't know I had done. But the next day, Nathan called me and he said, "You got a meeting tonight?" And I said, "Yeah, got to go to Sumter." He said, "How about come early and stop by the Venus House of Pancakes in Florence and we'll have us an egg." So I went a little early, and we stopped at the Venus House with Nathan, and we ordered eggs and grits and stuff, and had breakfast for supper. After we got through eating, he leaned back, and you remember he used to smoke those funny little brown cigarettes.
Mm-hmm.
He leaned back and lit up one of them loud, little brown cigarettes, and he started chewing my rear end, one side and up and down the other. I mean, I couldn't think of anything that I had done right except eat my eggs. After we got through, he said, "Did you learn anything?" And I said, "Nathan, I sure did." He said, "What did you learn?" I said, "I'm never going to eat another egg with you for the rest of my life." Um, but he explained it in a way that I understood that I went in there thinking that I could walk on water, and actually uh, I didn't even know where the rocks were to accomplish that. So,
Gene, what advice would you have for any young person, male or female, 21 to 39, if they wanted to get involved in their community today?
well, again, there are not as many JC chapters as we had back when in our heyday, Bill, as you're well aware of. But to get involved today, I would say go to your town commissioners, to your mayor, and again, back to that, find that need. We want to do something in our community, Mr. Mayor. What does our town need? What can we do? Talk to the town council. Find out from those folks what you're doing. One of the best extensions that we did when we were coming up, Jeff Lee and I did, and Jeff was past state president a couple of years ahead of me. We went to a little place called Olathe, South Carolina. We talked to the Methodist minister, a guy by the name of Dave D. Donato. Dave got excited, and all of a sudden we come back, and the next week, and we're meeting at the Baptist church, and there's 30 folks in there. And Jeff and I are so excited that both of us are stuttering when we talk and but Dave puts them all together. And as a minister, he knew the needs of Olathe, and also with the Baptist minister involved in it, we put it together. We put it together as a JC chapter, and like I said, the JC chapters were known for occasionally having, let's say, alcohol meetings where alcohol was consumed. The next one, we go back to the Olano chapter, they're having a little beer bust. But they went out and was got an award for the new chapter that year, and went out and extended 3 others. But find that need again in your town, and do what you can to fill it. That's how to get involved. See what your town needs.
Gene, I was very fortunate. As I said, you were there for me to sit down and share with me what is that really what you want to do, and I want to thank you for that advice. But if Gene Martin could go back and whisper in the ear of the young Gene Martin who was just getting involved as a local chapter president, what advice would you give that person?
Man, what are you doing? I think if I had to, I guess the simple answer to that, Bill, was that if I had to do it all over again, I'd do it pretty much the same way. I think coming from a country boy, growing up on the farm, and working in tobacco and all that kind of stuff, and having the opportunity uh, to do things like meet President Ronald Reagan, President Jimmy Carter, George Bush, Hugh O'Brien. Of course, a lot of these young folks are not going to know who Hugh O'Brien was, even though he started the Hugh
Last person
O'Brien
killed
Youth
by
League.
John Wayne, by the way.
That's right. That's right.
In the shootist.
The shootist. But John Wayne shot him, took care of him. But
That's right.
he was also Wyatt Earp on TV. But to meet folks like that, of course, I didn't know that when I was becoming a JC, or when I was joining JCs. We had a guy by the name of Alan Page. Alan Page, same name as the defensive tackle for the Minnesota Vikings, but a whole lot different person. I was always enjoyed being around Alan, because he was about twice my size, made me feel like I was had lost weight and stuff. But Alan had one claim to fame. He joined the JCs and recruited one person in his lifetime, and that one person was me. He said, "We have got something that's going on, and a lot of free stuff, and the stuff that you're going to enjoy." And we went out to a meeting and we had a large time. And I joined, and then I had a couple of folks take me under the wing. But if I had a chance to whisper to that same guy, I'd say, man, give it your best shot. Let's see what this thing is going to do, and see where you can go. Nobody told me that I would be coming from a farm, that I would have the opportunity to get in an airplane and fly nose to nose with Mount Rushmore. You can't do that now because they'd shoot you down. But back then, we were able, in a small plane in Nebraska, I flew by Mount Rushmore and got to look at all of those guys face to face. Got to go do stuff like that, and it's just a little old country boy from Horry County, South Carolina, just ain't gonna see stuff like that unless he does something.
Gene, community service is the absolute foundation of the Junior Chamber of Commerce, Jaycees. What does community service mean to you?
It means you're proud of the place you live, the place you call home, and we're going to do everything we can to make it better. It's the You look out there and you ride down the streets of your community and you see trash on the sidewalk. Something's wrong. Let's do something about it. Let's make And it's a snowball effect. You make your community a better place. You're going to make your state, your country a better state, better country. You're limited by what you can do. You're not limited. You can go out there and do things to make it better. If you ride through at Christmas time and there are no lights on the trees or anything in your community, next Christmas, let's put some Christmas lights up there and make it better. Uh, and when you make it better, you become a better person yourself.
Gene, I early on struggled with humility. I will admit that.
Not early on or still?
But you helped me overcome that on a summer day in Rock Hill, South Carolina, when I ran for vice president, and I had all of these chapters had absolutely committed to me, and one by one, they went the other way, and I had no idea that you were sort of the person behind a lot of that, making that happen. But I will tell you that had I won that election on that May Day in Rock Hill in 1987, I would probably not ever have had the opportunity to serve as a national president. I probably wouldn't be at the Chamber of Commerce, and Charlie Mattson would never have become a political advisor. And as much as that hurt, losing that election in my hometown in front of my father, you taught me more on that one day than I had learned in a lifetime up to that point. Sometimes it's in those harsh losses that we learn the most.
Well, I think you're right, and we saw an opportunity to help a couple of folks. We gave a guy who probably had no business being where he was, but it turned out when you do the political thing, you look for an ideal candidate. Yeah. That gentleman was the ideal candidate. What do I do now, Gene? Exactly what I tell you, son. No more, no less. You're running with Robbie Dawkins. And if they ask you what you think about the weather or what do you think about this program, I agree with Robbie Dawkins.
Yeah.
No such thing as a perfect candidate, but pretty darn close. And what it did was it gave us an opportunity, I think, really to cement a bunch of relationships. That when you did step up there, and the great thing and the thing that I admire, you didn't let it stop you. It taught you something. Robbie Dawkins also lost his first bid for state president. Made him a better president. Robbie got elected on the morning that he gave his concession speech. He got elected the next year when he did that because he did the right thing. Yeah. And you did too. You didn't quit. You asked earlier what some of the things that my career that I'm more proud of. I'm proud of the fact that I had the opportunity to elect Bill Russell state president and national president. that I had the opportunity to see Robbie Dawkins grow from what he was before when he first joined the Jaycees into president of the world.
Mhm.
And I remember when he got elected president of the world, I said, "Where are we going to go next, Robbie?" He said, "I don't know." So he ended up coming home, but doing a great job.
Chief of
But
Staff to Senator Hugh Leatherman. So he
to
was
Hugh Leatherman, that's right, and now retired and living the high life at the Grand Strand. So but he, but those are the success stories. And I had a football coach several years ago that I talked to, and I was asking him about what kind of plans he had, and what kind of what have you got? How are you going to make this team work? And he said, "Let me explain something to you." He said, "It's you can sit down and you can work and you can worry and all that kind of stuff." He said, "But it ain't about the X's and the O's." He said, "It's about the Johnnies and the Joes." And that's the same thing about the JCs. It ain't about the stuff that we did. It's about the people that did it, and the people that we had the opportunity to work with and grow and know and love. And I don't think of many people um, that I'm sorry that I met. I met some people that maybe I didn't like as well as others, um, but I gave them the opportunity to like me in return. And if they didn't, then hey, we just didn't hang around with each other. But
Gene,
I do appreciate the opportunity to have done that. And
Gene, I'm very, very grateful again for the lessons, the advice you gave me as a state president and as a national president. And learning, because again, I did, getting your ass handed to you. You learn from that. Either you learn from it or you go home and you sulk about it. But it had a profound impact on me that I use today in my job. I mean, I meet with candidates, some of them lose, and I sit there and I tell them, hey, don't give up. You're only beat when you give up. But I also want to thank you for the countless number of state presidents that you trained in local JC training every year in, year out, sitting down and talking about what their role was as a president in their chapter and the impact they could make. And you know what? We had one hell of a state organization.
yes, we did. Um, we hear about great states all over our country. You can't beat South Carolina. We've done things. We finished number one back to back 2 years in a row consecutively. And everybody says, "Oh, that had never been done before." But actually, it had. It had been done one time before. And guess who did it? South Carolina. Raymond Schwartz and Nick Theodore, those guys, uh, I think if I'm not mistaken, it was Nick Theodore who was, when he was state president, finished in a tie for number one, but he was not a lucky guy. He lost the coin toss. So we had finished number one back to back twice.
I remember when I finished as the most outstanding chapter in South Carolina, number one. Everybody just assumed the next year South Carolina was going to have a down year. You have a number 1 year, 1 year you're supposed to be down the next, and we were the number one chapter for 3 consecutive years, back to back to back. So we were the number one chapter and the number one state, 3 years in a row. And I'm real proud of that because I think that's the real measure of your success is if the organization is able to do better after you leave.
I think you're absolutely right. You can get out there and have just a fantastic year and do great stuff. But if the guy that follows you gets in there and just tanks the whole thing, and you have a terrible year, your year weren't that great either. Then I think it's consistency pays off. If you can be number one 2 years in a row, 3 years in a row, 4 years in a row, do it. If not, you keep trying to do it.
Thank you for letting me steal your line. Love what you do what you love, and deliver more than your promise. That's taken me a long way in what I do. And Gene, thank you very much for being my advisor and my friend.
Gonna give you a gift. That little saying, you've used it enough now that you can go ahead and say it's yours. You've given me credit several times on when you use that thing, and I like to tell folks, yeah, that's my story. I'll give it to you. If you use it 3 or 4 times, give me credit. After that, it's yours. So
To the
I'll
man
give
who
that to you, my friend.
to the man who gave me probably my worst political butt kicking, I love you a lot, G. Martin.
Go Gamecocks.
See ya.
Bye, buddy.